So I just started playing this game over the weekend. I think it's pretty neat, so I thought I'd show you. It's called AirMech. I think it's been out for a little while in beta, but it actually just hit the new releases on Steam, so it's kind of starting to pick up a little bit of traction. It's free to play, so you can just download it and go. I'm playing it on Steam, but I think I saw that there is a browser version of the game too. You can play the game through the Chrome browser. Why just Chrome, I don't know, but that's an option you have. I don't think that there is a restriction in regards to, like, I don't think Steam client users can only play Steam client users and vice versa. I think it's completely open. But anyway, it's kind of like a cross between a real-time strategy and a MOBA. So you know, you have elements of both, and they kind of mesh really well into this interesting sort of gameplay that I'll show you. I'm just going to show you a quick solo versus AI game. So this is the AirMech that you have. This is what you control. This would be like you know, your champion in League of Legends, for instance. There are a bunch of different ones you can get. They have flying saucers, they have helicopters, you know, different kinds of jets. So they all have kind of their flying mode, and then also when you hit shift, you turn into a big mech, which is pretty cool. And you can go back and forth at any time. Now, generally, when you're in air mode, you can only shoot other air units, and when you're on the ground, you can only shoot other ground units. There are exceptions. For instance, this guy has an ability which supposedly makes his primary gun fire air to ground or ground to air. So there's that. So again, like League of Legends, as you kill stuff, your AirMech levels up, and every time you level, you get a point, and you can put those points into these different abilities that you have. So that's kind of like a MOBA. The other thing that's like a MOBA is you'll see here that creeps spawn from the main base, and they just kind of start marching towards the nearest enemy base, attempting to take it over. But where the RTS elements come in is that you actually get to build units. So if I wanted to build, so for instance, I'm going to queue up this turret here. So you queue up the unit you want to build. It costs resources. You don't gather resources in this game, rather they're just earned at a steady rate over time. You can see that right up here at the top. There are certain things you can do, like for instance, if I were to build this moneymaker, I could attach that to one of the pads around my base, and that would increase the amount of credits that I get. That was the enemy AirMech that decided just to charge my base and get absolutely annihilated by all my defenses here. So anyway, when a unit's done, you fly over the base, it pops up, you hit space, and your AirMech will pick it up. So now you have the option to fly around. You can drop it wherever you want. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this turret here. So now that turret will defend against anything that drives by it. So if I were to make a tank, or actually, you know what, I can just pick up one of the tanks that I already have. Or that. So when you're carrying a unit, there are a number of things you can do. You can either just set it down, and what it'll do is it'll stay there, it'll guard, it'll auto-fire anything. You can also, set it down to attack, which means it just goes on an automated path towards the nearest enemy base, starting to attack. You can set patrol points. You can link certain units to other units. For instance, if I wanted to link one of the patchers, which is a kind of like a healing unit, I could link that to a tank and have them both march in together. Certain things, like for instance, yeah. So you can even pick up your regular troops. I can only carry one of those. But if I wanted to queue up a few soldiers, for instance. See, so I can carry a few soldiers, I can fly them over to an enemy base. drop them off, and they'll go do their thing. So, in regards to capturing an enemy base, for instance, this is currently a neutral base, right? You'll see it's a neutral base that obviously the enemy is attempting to capture. So what your creep do is your creep walk towards it, they try to enter the base, and you'll see these 4 lights here on top. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 of them are currently blue. So if I get one more guy inside that base, I will own it. And if he were to get guys inside that base, they deactivate the lights and you know, turn them red. So, okay, so now I own this base, which means that not only are my production times reduced, but anything that I build, I can now pick up here as well as at the main base. So, you know, it's not like, you know, you constantly have to be flying back to your main base. The main base being the pretty much the objective of the match is you want to destroy your opponent's main base. So it's kind of like the Nexus in League of Legends, is that you want to, you know, make progression towards the map. You can see the map in the lower corner here. Oh yeah, there are neutral creep, these gray. If you get injured, you just go to a base that you own, and it heals you right up. But as far as, yeah, so as far as gray creep, neutral, you can farm them for experience. Or you can die to them like I did. They don't respawn though, so most of your experience is going to come from fighting the various stuff that your opponent throws at you. So there's an interesting balance here between wanting to actually engage in combat with your AirMech in order to get experience, and also managing your... See, like, I haven't set up a very good defense here, but I could go just grab a bunch of these things that I have and defend this a little bit better, because we keep going back and forth on this particular base. Take that turret I made earlier, bring it down here. So yeah, so there's a neat little, you know, balancing act between the real-time strategy aspects and the MOBA aspects, because you don't want to fall behind with the levels on your AirMech, because the various power-ups and abilities that you can get are actually incredibly helpful. You know, your AirMech is not just like some sort of overseer unit that doesn't really do much. I mean, it is actually a very powerful unit in and of itself. So you're using a combination of the different units that you have at your disposal. Now, speaking of units, you only come into a game able to build 8 units, and this you can swap out. I'll show you this in a minute. But it's not, you don't have access to every unit that the game has to offer. You actually choose 8 of the game's units that you will be able to build in a given game. So this setup is something that I put together. It gives me, you know, some infantry. It gives me some turrets for some stationary defense. I have one tank here, which is like a very cheap basic tank. It only costs 4,000 credits to build. But I also have a Goliath, which is a much more powerful tank. It's 3 times as expensive, but it also has this the stipulation that I can't build it until I reach level 7 in-game. So it's more powerful, but you have to level up your AirMech in the given game in order to even be able to build it. So when you set up a loadout for a game, you want to have a good variety to suit your play style. So there's some strategy involved in that regard. So I've shown you the gist of the game. I'm going to pop out here and show you some of the various features for outside of the game. So this is what I was talking about as far as customizing. And you can have, like, you start with 2 different loadouts. Apparently you can unlock more, I think, as you level up. Or okay, sorry, you can purchase them. There are two forms of currency, kind of similar to League of Legends, and I think most free-to-play games. You have the kudos, which are the points that you earn just for playing and completing various objectives. And then you have the diamonds. The diamonds generally are what you have to you purchase with actual money. You buy diamonds. So everything in the game that is related to gameplay, for instance, all of the units, pilots, and AirMechs, they can all be unlocked with kudos, which means just like most free-to-play games, you can play and eventually you'll unlock everything. There's nothing that you can't get, or rather, let me put it this way: there's nothing that you can only get with diamonds that influences the actual gameplay. Stuff that like cosmetic things, like you can change the color of your tracers, you can change the color of your jetpacks. You can even get this thing, a little husky pup that follows you around. I mean, cosmetic things, just like League of Legends and skins, you can only get with diamonds. So that's real money. But all the stuff in regards to actual gameplay, you can earn it just by playing. You don't have to. I mean, you can, don't get me wrong, you can pay for it if you want to unlock it sooner, but you can get it by just playing. So you have a loadout. You can choose your AirMech. There are different types of AirMechs. There's jets, choppers, the stealth bombers, this other sort of thing, flying saucers, ospreys, and then within the type there are, of course, obviously a bunch of different neat skins that you can buy for an individual type. And then you have a pilot. Pilots do different things. They'll add or subtract stat bonuses. So this is another pretty neat way to customize, like the one I was using. This guy. I'm gonna open this thing up. So I get more fuel efficiency. I move slower, but I'm more resistant to damage. So it's a give and take with most of these pilots. And again, pretty much all of these unlock at different levels, or you can purchase them. And then there are, you know, a bunch of different things that you can buy to, you know, even further customize. A bunch of cosmetic things, and then you get down into the actual unit loadout. So these are all of the units in game. You see they have like 3 or 4 different kinds of tanks, 3 or 4 different kinds of turrets, some mechs, a bunch of different ground traps, a bunch of different money makers and lock boxes, and also like, so for every kind of class of unit there are 3 or 4 different options. And so what you're going to do is look at them, look at the stats, kind of decide what fits your play style. Look at the different tanks, and do you want a cheaper tank, or rather a less armored tank that fires lighter weapons faster, or do you want the slow, heavy cannon tank? And like I said, you can only have at any given time 8 units in a game, or 8 options for units in game, I should say. So this is kind of neat, and there's obviously a lot of room for growth here with them adding additional units. Like, see, for instance, in this loadout too, I keep meaning to take this out, this zipper. I never really use this thing. I never find myself building it. So for instance, I would maybe take this out and instead bring in this guy. See, he's currently free on the rotation. I haven't bought him, but kind of like League of Legends in their free champion weeks, it seems like they're going to offer different units for you to try out before you buy them. So I might take him instead of the zipper, for instance, because I would find more use for a unit that's going to heal my infantry than a fast motorbike. But it might be different for... I actually haven't tried using the motorbike that much, so you know, who knows? There's probably a great strategy involved there. This is kind of neat too. They have this guy, the Boomer, which is, I think, just kind of like a suicide bomber. He just walks in and explodes shit. But you can, if you want, you can buy a creeper instead. Same kind of unit, does the exact same thing. It's just got a different look to it. So I thought that was kind of neat. But anyway, I love this whole setup where, you know, where there's a lot of choice but a lot of restriction in regards to what you're bringing into a certain match. And so, and here's the other thing: since most of the games, at least that I play, I kind of prefer 2-on-2 or 3v3. So, you know, like, there's no reason for, if you're playing 2v2, and you're partnered up with a teammate, there's no reason for both of you to bring, for instance, these money makers, because there are only limited number of pads around your base to attach them to, and it affects both of you. It affects the income for both of you. So I would say like one person brings a money maker and the other person uses that slot for something else. You know, you can even, if you're playing with a friend, you can even go so far as to say, like, you know, one person focuses entirely on defense and the other person focuses entirely on offense. You know, you'd also want to maybe even mix up your mechs. The one problem that I kind of have with the AirMechs, or one thing I'd like to see change in the future, is that when you're looking at an AirMech, for instance, it'll give you a basic description, but it doesn't tell you what the 4 or 5 abilities that mech has are. So until you've learned them all, or unless you look on a wiki or something, the only way to find out what abilities these things have is to actually get into a game with them. So I kind of like to see that change in the future, maybe. The same way that, you know, in League of Legends, when you look up a champion, you can actually look at all of their spells and abilities before you get into the game. So the collection shows you everything that you actually own. But yeah, it's neat to be able to, you know, kind of mesh and strategize with your teammate as far as what you're going to bring. There aren't very many colors. That's kind of a bummer. I'd like to see them add new colors, but they've got some really cool skins, I have to admit. Like, for instance, these steampunk skins I really like. It's purely a cosmetic thing, but it's still pretty cool. So quests, obviously you can earn kudos through playing games, winning or losing matches, still earns you kudos. But on top of that, there is this very unique quest system where completing certain objectives will get you kudos. Some of them are daily, like for instance, you get 20 kudos just for logging in once a day. You can claim that reward. Win 3 consecutive online matches, you can claim that reward. Some of them even offer diamonds as a reward. So it's not like the only way to earn to get diamonds is to you know, purchase them with real money. You know, some are immediate, like your first win of the day bonus, etc. And then some are lifetime achievements. Kill 250 tanks with your AirMech over the lifetime of your account. You know, if you do that, you get kudos. Some of these, unfortunately, like the ones with the spade, you have to have VIP status in order to redeem them, which means at some point over the course of having played, you would have had to have bought VIP status. Like, for instance, you can get, let's see if I can find it, store, somewhere here, VIP status is like, I think if you've spent any money on the game at all, you get VIP status, but most of these aren't attached that way. So you can, so like for instance, if I were to reach level 15 in any AirMech, I could claim that and get 50, you know, 50 kudos. So that's kind of a neat system, I thought. You know, whereas League of Legends, you earn IP strictly through playing games, but you know, this is sort of an additional, and I think that these are all achievements as well, like for your Steam account. So it's twofold. You can do 2 things at once. So that's neat. You have your lifetime stats, which is tracked. League of Legends does this, but I don't think it tracks quite as much. So that's pretty neat. The other thing that I thought was kind of cool is there's a referral system in the game, which is always nice, but generally with referral systems, only the referrer gets any kind of rewards. So I mean, I did this with League of Legends, and I got a bunch of referrals, and that's great, but I'm the only one that actually sees any rewards for it. If you do a referral in AirMech, the person, so I've already done it, but you would see a box here that said, you know, enter the name of the person who referred you. So if you were to enter me, for instance, TimCad, I would get a reward once you hit level 5, but you also get a reward of 1,000 kudos just for activating that. Like, you get an instant reward just for saying so-and-so referred me. You get 1,000 kudos right off the bat. So I think that that's kind of neat, that it not only rewards the person who's referring people to the game, but it also, you know, gives a little reward for the people who took a moment to say, yes, so and so pointed the game out to me and whatnot. So I thought that was kind of neat. So you know, so if you end up playing the game, you can put me in. That would be appreciated, TimCad. Or you know, or one other thing you can do is, like, for instance, if you have a friend or two that is going to play the game with you, you can kind of do like a circle jerk thing where person A refers person B refers person C, and person C refers person A, and then so you all get the immediate 1,000 kudos bonus, and once you all reach level 5, you get that refer bonus as well. So that's something else you can do, you know, if you don't want to refer or be referred by me. So that's fine. But I like that. I like that it's not just a strictly rewards for the refer. So, but anyway, it's pretty neat. It's still in beta. You know, I'd like to see the game succeed and have them keep adding new AirMechs and new units and stuff. I think it's pretty fun, and it's in good shape for a beta and a free-to-play game. So check it out, and shoot me a friend request. That's the other thing. TimCad, you can shoot me a friend request, and maybe we'll get a game together. So, all right, enjoy.